So, the day after yesterday. Oh, it was a rough one yesterday, I know. So everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like. Okay, we need to talk about a few things. The market. If you're new to this space, by the way, and you've been following YouTubers into coins, I do feel sorry for you. It happens. This is why we're going to talk about risk management, why I'm doing certain things, and some of the methodology that I use. And I know people are hurting right now. It just depends on how it goes. Now, I like to do a balanced approach. I like to do bearish and bullish content. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know that anyways. I tell you it as it is. And yes, I do coins videos in terms of 5 coins you can invest in that are undervalued. And yes, most of the time they do pay off, but some days they don't. And it depends on your entry and your exit and profit more than anything, let's be honest. So, the first thing we need to talk about is obviously why this has kind of happened now. I'm not going to fall into the narrative of the pie indicator. I'm not going to fall into the narrative of that distribution cycle, of the whack-off or whatever it's called pattern. Everyone's talking about it. I couldn't give a monkey's toss about it. Realistically, I couldn't, because it's just a pattern. Patterns either play out or they don't, and people have been talking about it. The thing is, more people talk about it, the more distribution that gets its eyeballs, the more people believe it, and the more likelihood it is going to happen. Anyways, it's just the game. And it feels like we're playing into the hands of this kind of narrative that the market was going to rug us at some point, because it's been going up so much. It's been parabolic. And we are going to talk about the total 2 chart mainly on this video, and Bitcoin. However, the sentiment market of this game is simple. It's all in the head, right? It's all in the head. This is why I have my own company with courses, which is why I teach all this stuff to survive in the market. Sometimes cryptocurrency and investing in whatever it is, it's not about making money sometimes, it's about surviving. It's about protecting your S. And we're going to talk about that. So, today, I'm not going to go out through and say, look, buy all these, because we don't know what's going to happen yet. You know, physically, this dump may not be over. We might get more over the weekend. People are panicking right now. And there's a lot of new people in the game. I do apologise if I offend anyone, but if you are new and you are underwater, you have got more risk at flapping and shitting yourself and making things worse than they already are. Tomorrow, I probably will talk about some coins that do look quite good. Just to give you a pointer, maybe VeChain, who knows, because it looks pretty tasty right now. However, we need to talk about some stuff. Now, I'm going to go over this chart in more detail in a sec, so stay around. That is the alpha. Absolute the bollocks, it really is. But we'll talk about Bitcoin first. Some market analysis, because something happened yesterday that I was not expecting as quickly, and this is what happened. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been talking about this chart structure for a while. This A, B, C sort of situation with the corrective wave. I was expecting us to go down to low maximum levels 35k. In terms of that, I thought that was it. Woo! Done, guaranteed. But what happened was something even more, remarkable. Was we went from the August low, basically the August 2020 to the high, which is what the start of the parabolic cycle. I think it was literally, if you think about it, basically September, the break and the start of this whole entire parabolic cycle. Essentially, we've retraced the majority of it. We've hit a key level that could, not financial advice, not fact. Not yet anyways, could be the end of the Bitcoin correction for now, which is kind of important to look at in terms of where we're with. Now, I don't really want to shout out my business partner too much, but he pretty much called this on a tweet in April, said we will basically go down to around 29k at some point. And if you check out my Twitter, you'll see that on one of the top tweets I retweeted. It literally did nearly a $30,000 turnaround. So, when you think Bitcoin loves its round numbers, 30,000 pretty much. Obviously, there's $26 in there, but even still, it's a monster move, man. And it has rattled a few feathers. It definitely has. You always got to protect yourself. So, what does it mean now? If we do continue going up from this point, brilliant. Bitcoin has corrected. It's done its thing. It's done what it wanted it to do. We may get a more violent Bitcoin, though, in terms of the future. It may become more volatile over the next few weeks, and it may also go much higher than we ever think. It may well crush altcoins. So just be mindful of that. So I'm keeping massive eye on the dominance chart, essentially, and the total 2 chart, which I'm going to come on to now. So, corrections, boys and girls. We've had a 56% correction from the top to the bottom at the moment, right? Currently. It's a biggie. It's a big one. And you got to think, well, where can we go now? Well, on our other corrections that we've had, we've actually made a new high. Will it happen again? Well, we don't know. It's kind of one of those things we've got to prove. Now, I know people go, oh, these YouTubers don't know much, but the game, it's not about anyone who does analysis. We're not playing the game of being right or wrong. We're playing the game of probability here. We may be right, we may be wrong, but we're putting our thoughts out there in the open. So before you open your mouth talking about it, well, just think, was anyone expecting a 56% correction? Probably not, no. It's just the way it goes. And why did it happen? I know you're probably asking that. Now, people are talking about manipulation. There's all these 4chan kind of stuff. There's all kinds of rumours regarding Elon Musk and what he's done with it. And there's also the China FUD, which keeps evaporating and appearing and evaporating and appearing. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hello. It's like a puddle, right? But that is only step one, the catalyst. Now, why is it a catalyst? Because it gets people to think and act and do stupid stuff. The second thing is the purpose. The purpose of doing it is to rattle people. What do people do? What do people have data access to? Derivative platforms. How many leverage orders, how many open orders are there on high leverage platforms? They know all that information. Well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to cause a rumble, aren't they? And if one stop loss goes, if two stop loss goes, if the liquidation start to go, if the API start to fail, if the whole exchanges go down because it's throttling too many orders, guess what's going to happen? The market's going to crash. So it's not just one thing here. We've got a number of things, which is why it annoys me with crypto. Why does it annoy me with crypto? Because things are in, you can't access them. That's why I was tweeting yesterday. Oh, by the way, guys, Swissborg's working. It's fine. Binance can't get on it. Use Swissborg if you want to get in the market. Use Swiss. It's fine. It's got nowhere near as much traffic. It's fine. Go for that. Oh, but I can't trade. Go to Bybit. Bybit's fine. It's not. They've got a different system. It's better than. Honestly, the bigger exchanges will always find the problems because there's too many people there. Anyways, moving on. Right. So we've had a 56% correction. We've had a 32%, 20, 35, 33, 28, 29, and 29, basically, right? It's usually the averages, right? And when you start looking at the higher time frame, just to kind of put this out there in terms of a point. Now, this is the entire, in my opinion anyways, right? I personally believe, not financial advice, not fact or anything like that, that we started this bull cycle in July 2020, right? In terms of when the structure kind of broke and we started to go beyond certain levels and we started to break previous levels of like basically these levels and we broke above it and boom, happy days, right? We then retraced, we corrected, we found support properly on the EMA and we continued. That's my personal thoughts anyways, right? I know some people think 2019, but I don't think that's right because the bear market would be tiny then. Anyways, right? So we've had, as it stands, what I've counted, roughly around 7 to 8 corrections. Yesterday's was the biggest so far. But if we look back in terms of history, we've also had a lot of situations. So obviously this is the bear cycle. But I've highlighted as well back in the olden days of the old previous cycle, some pretty aggressive turns as well. 58%, 53%, 37, 32, 32, 48, and we've had more up here, but I've not really worked them out because obviously you can kind of see the kind of the wickiness of them. They're kind of scary. Go to the daily time frame, it kind of becomes a bit more interesting. If I zoom over to there, there we go. So you can kind of see a lot of wicked action and stuff like that. It's kind of scary. So what would I do? Well, this is one thing I want to tell you, and you probably watched this video thinking, well, what am I going to go on? Whenever this kind of, you see when the moving average, so I use the EMA 21, right? I'll put that on here. EMA 21, right? This is kind of the predominant thing that I use mainly at the moment. I kind of like this. Higher time frames kind of works well. If I'm on shorter time frames, I add another one in there for more confluence. However, right? Whenever we start to go too far away from it, we want to always attract back to it at some point. We want to try and get close to it. So you can see on all these occasions when we go quite high, we pull back. Go quite high, we pull back. Go quite high, pull back. You get the picture, right? That's when you take profit. Simple, right? Rules are fun if you stick to them and if they make you money, right? Simple as that. They're not to be broken in crypto because you will lose your money. We've seen that with high leverage trading. So if you're doing high leverage trading, and you're looking at that thinking, wow, it's too far away, you probably want to ease up on the leverage a little bit to kind of protect yourself. Now, the one thing that I've been doing, and I've not really taken many profits at the top of this one actually this time, because I didn't need to, because I took a lot this time. I'm holding stable currencies. I'm in a good position with my Bitcoin. I've got my stacks staking. I'm kind of happy with what I've got. However, I do feel they're undervalued. I mentioned this a few days ago. I feel my bags in some cases are undervalued, even more so now. It's a bigger argument that they could go even higher. Certainly if the developments and fundamentals change. But the one thing to do, higher time frames, look at the 3-day chart, look at the weekly, look at all kinds of stuff. Now, if I remove some of the jargon here, you could probably see whenever whenever it pulls away, it's like a magnet. Pulls away, magnet. Pulls away, magnet, right? You've got to be careful. Why? Because if you're looking at your portfolio thinking, why am I making so much money here? You should probably look to take some profits. Now, that doesn't mean dump your entire bag. Even if that means 10%, 20%, just enjoy it. Stack some stable currency, put it in Swissborg, put it in BlockFi, put it in places where you can earn a yield off it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with taking profits. And this is the one thing that annoys me. People think the P word is a bad word, it's a dirty word, it's a disgusting word because you're going to dump everything. No. Profits allow you to survive. Now, how am I going to do it? Now, I'm looking at the 3-day and the 5-day chart predominantly on this in terms of the moving average. If we start closing below and this becomes resistance, I will probably start removing my positions from the market essentially because it's going to keep going down essentially. That's kind of the game that we're playing. If we look back in time here and you're looking at the old bear cycle, so as you can see here, obviously the previous bull bear, when you're below that, you tend to be below it for a while. And we're talking the 3-day chart here. So that isn't a period of a few days. It's a freaking half a year, maybe longer in some cases, much more than that, 7-8 months. So that's important. You do not want to be sitting holding your bags when the market is going down, because guess what? It's going to make it much harder. You want to be sitting in a stable currency somewhere, or if you like to grow Satoshis like I do, hold Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. It doesn't matter on the price. Just accumulate. Have a mixture of two. A lot of people ask me that question. I have to. You know, if I'm stacking Satoshis now, and the market cycle changes, well, guess what? I'm going to sell probably half my bags in Bitcoin, put it into stable currency, earn a yield off it, sit and chill out, relax, do my research, learn some new stuff in terms of like, you know, what's out in the market, what I can look at in the new cycle, and then wait. Just wait. Even if that means just chilling out for 6 months, not in many positions, it's fine. I don't mind that. And I will keep the likes of Polkadot, I'll keep the likes of Zilliqa for staking protocols, because there's nothing wrong with having 20% of a bag if it's making you 14% return. For example, the likes of Polkadot, the likes of Zilliqa, as many examples, there is other available, obviously. So I think it's important. For me, I'm looking at the 3-day chart more than anything. We need to close above this moving average, which is literally, doesn't sound like much, but it's still, what, 40 billion we need to find. So if that happens, brilliant. That candle closes 1 day and 14 hours, so we may have a pump over the weekend because people will be coming into the market. For some people, it's attractive. For some people, it's death. It's like bang. For some people, it's like, yeah, thumbs up, let's go. I'm ready to rock and roll. So it's important. So the caveat is simple. The total 2 chart is the entire market, the entire cap of the market. Yes, it's inflated numbers and stuff like that, it's random, but if you start going too far away from that moving average medium line, in my opinion, it wants to pull back, and that's where the corrections happen. And yes, this was a brutal one, but they're not uncommon. I've already said, we've had about 7 already this year. This was the biggie. This was a big one. So if this one does change and we close above here, we continue going higher, honestly, if we form a new high and we're like way up into the sky here and there's a big gap of like a couple of like, say there's a 20-30% gap away from the EMA and you're not taking anything off the table in your entire bags, because this is an index chart, by the way, that's a whole entire growth of the market, chances are your bags will be doing well. So I hope you're well. I hope you're surviving. I hope that gives you some rules to kind of implement. It's entirely up to you. You can use a 5-day, which is kind of a random one that I picked up this morning. That's above it, obviously. And then the weekly as well. So if the weekly closes below it, it's 755. Yeah, and this is excluding Bitcoin, by the way. This is total 2. So why is this important versus the other one? Is because, well, why not? You know, you don't want to just see what Bitcoin's doing. You want to see the altcoins doing. It's a market sentiment. Bitcoin will always be fine. It will go down in value, don't get me wrong. But the altcoins have a bigger trigger. They have bigger bigger volatility, bigger ferocity, bigger slippage essentially in terms of leverage as well. People get too overcomplicated and too overzealous with altcoins, and that's why the most money is lost versus Bitcoin, for example. So enjoy. I shall see you again very, very soon tomorrow.